My wife and I, both early 30s, have been together for just under 4 years. We got married fast. Way too fast, looking back. I was in a really rough spot when we met. I had just come out of a long-term relationship that ended messily. And not even a month later, my brother passed away unexpectedly. I didn't take the time to sit with any of that. Instead, I jumped into something new and mistook the rush of it all for love. She was charming, affectionate, seemed so into me, it felt like stability. So I married her the next year. I ignored a lot early on. There were always little things that didn't add up. Vague stories, odd behavior with her phone, inconsistencies about her past. She had told me she'd cut ties with an ex who was apparently emotionally abusive. And she mentioned she used to talk to a sugar daddy, but swore it was behind her. Said it was just a dumb phase before she met me. I wanted to believe her. We had our first major blowout about 1.5 years into the marriage. I'd noticed her using Snapchat more and more, but every time I brought it up, she'd brush it off. I started digging and found out she was chatting with both the ex and the sugar daddy. The ex, she claimed, was just closure. The sugar daddy was harmless, just sending her money because he felt bad for her. When I confronted her, she broke down, talked about her trauma, abandonment issues, told me she was scared of being poor again and that she didn't know how to stop relying on men for help. I moved out. I couldn't live with her anymore. So I got a 1-bedroom and told her we needed space. A month later, she begged me to try again. Swore she was going to therapy. Said I was the first person who ever really saw her. She cried in my arms and said she didn't want to end up like her mother, alone and bitter. She told me she'd blocked everyone from her past. I was skeptical, but at that point, I was too emotionally exhausted to make a clean break. I moved back in. That was May. By June, I found out she'd blocked me on Snapchat, so I wouldn't be able to see that she was still active on it. When I confronted her, she claimed she didn't even remember doing that, then cried again, saying she was slipping and needed more time. I gave her another warning. I told her that was it. If she ignored my boundaries again, we were done. No more second chances. After that, I stopped checking on her. I didn't feel the need. I didn't care much by then. I knew the marriage had to end, and I was checked out. I was numb to it all. Sex stopped. I stopped cuddling her at night. We lived like roommates. I didn't have the money to file, so I just coasted. Recently, I noticed her habits creeping back in. Staying late at work, but not bringing home any extra money. Keeping her phone on silent. Giggling at messages and quickly swiping them away when I walk by. But I didn't want to go looking because I already knew. Yesterday, I checked her screen time. It said she was using some random messaging app heavily during her overtime hours. I didn't recognize it. I asked her casually what she was doing for work that day, and she said she had to stay late helping train someone. I nodded and said nothing. That night, while she was asleep, I opened her phone again and checked the app. She was sending photos, chatting with some guy saved as M Supplies. A quick scroll made it obvious it wasn't work-related. There were messages about her needing rent money, him asking for favors, and her thanking him for another $400. That's all I saw before I shut the phone off. I didn't confront her. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling. I felt more relieved than anything. Like, finally, I had the full story. We haven't even touched each other in months. She keeps trying to act like everything's normal, makes small talk, asks what I want for dinner, plays loving wife when others are around. It's like she thinks if she ignores the rot, it'll fix itself. Meanwhile, I'm working extra hours, stashing money quietly, looking into affordable divorce lawyers. She doesn't know, and I don't feel like telling her until I'm ready to file. The truth is, she never really loved me. I think she liked the idea of being loved by someone stable, someone with a job and a plan. She latched onto me when I was at my lowest and gave me what felt like safety, but it was performance. The more I pulled back emotionally, the more she tried to play the part again. It's like she adjusts based on what she thinks I want to see, but it's never real. I know who I am now. I used to think I was just bad at relationships, that maybe I asked for too much, but I see it clearly now. I ignored every red flag because I didn't want to be alone again. I kept making space for someone who never deserved it. She's not someone I can build anything with. She has no car, no savings, no backup plan. And I know if I leave, she'll try to guilt me about leaving her with nothing. But that's not my fault. I gave her chances. I gave her stability. I gave her love when I barely had any left for myself. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just wanting to get rid of this headache. Update 1. I've stopped engaging. I come home, I work, I eat, I sleep. We don't fight because I don't talk. She started noticing. Last week, she asked me why I'm being so cold. Said it feels like I hate her. I didn't even respond. What was I supposed to say? I don't hate her. I don't care enough to. She asked if I still love her. I said, not the way I used to. That shut her up. I think she knows what's coming. She started crying more, mentioning her past again like that explains everything. Talks about how she doesn't want to be like her dad. I just nod and walk away. I've heard every story, every excuse. None of it changes the fact that she kept betraying me long after she promised not to. I found a lawyer. Consultation is booked for next week. I've started prepping documents, moving money to new accounts. It's slow because I'm doing this on my own dime, but it's happening. I've told a few close friends. I haven't told my parents yet. Part of me still feels embarrassed. Like I let this happen again. But I also know staying would be worse. I'm excited. I feel like I've been underwater for years and I'm finally coming up for air. I'm gonna take a very long, probably permanent break from women. I only crave for the peace of my mind now. Final update. Divorce is underway. She's officially out of the house. I changed the locks the day she left, just to be safe. I didn't tell her, but I assumed she'd try something eventually, and she did. A few days ago, she showed up unannounced in the afternoon, tried to unlock the door with her old keys. I was in the kitchen, saw the handle jiggle, then heard her curse when it didn't open. A second later, she started banging and yelling through the door, asking why the locks were changed and why I was doing this to her. I didn't respond. She stood there a while, mostly yelling stuff like, "You don't have to go this far," and "This isn't what I wanted," and she left. From what I've heard through mutuals, she's living with some older guy now. Don't know if it's the same sugar daddy or someone new, and honestly, I don't care enough to find out. I assume she's spun in the same story she spun me, about how the world is always against her and she's just trying to survive. It's not my problem anymore. She's clearly not happy about the divorce, but that's not my responsibility either. I gave her every chance. She turned them into weapons. And at this point, I'm just focusing on finishing the paperwork and moving on. Comments. You did the right thing by changing the locks. I can't tell you how many stories I've seen where the wayward spouse just strolls in like they still have a say. She probably thought she could guilt you into a talk or wear you down with drama. The fact that she stood there yelling instead of calling you like an adult tells me she still doesn't get it. She's not mourning the marriage. She's mad she lost control. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Let the paperwork run its course. You've already emotionally separated. The legal part just needs to catch up. You're handling this with way more composure than most would. Honestly, it's wild how predictable this pattern is. Cheats, gets caught, cries, manipulates, promises change, gets another shot, cheats again, then panics when the consequences finally hit. The whole thing with her showing up and yelling through the door was probably her realizing her safety net's gone. People like that are never really sad about the relationship ending. They're scared of having no one to fall back on. She probably thought you'd always be there. Good on you for keeping calm and not opening a door. You're giving her exactly what she never expected. Silence and boundaries. That's what really drives them crazy. Stay the course. The peace on the other side is worth it. I'll probably get downvoted for this, but I'm speaking from the other side of the fence. Look, I get that she messed up multiple times, and you're 100% within your rights to divorce her. But reading your posts, I can't help feeling like you never really gave her a genuine chance to fix things. You moved out the first time and basically checked out emotionally the second she slipped up again. How was she supposed to rebuild trust when you kept one foot out the door? People who grew up unstable, like she says she did, develop coping mechanisms that look ugly from the outside, clinging to anyone who offers security, compartmentalizing, even lying. If you'd put half the effort into understanding her triggers as you did into gathering evidence, maybe you'd both be in therapy right now instead of court. Changing the locks? Really? That's just pouring salt on an already gaping wound.